let's focus our attention on exercise. You know, exercise and nutrition go hand in hand. Dr. Don Hagen, the exercise lead in the Human Adaptations and Countermeasures Office at NASA Johnson Space Center, can tell us more.
Hello. Jennifer is correct. Good nutrition and exercise are interconnected. My job as the exercise lead in the Human Adaptation and Countermeasures Office here at the Johnson Space Center is to work with a team of specialists to determine the exercise requirements for astronauts in long-duration spaceflight. A long-duration spaceflight can be anywhere from months on the International Space Station to years if we ever travel to other planets. Before I continue, let's take a look at the following questions. Why is it important for astronauts to exercise in space? Do astronauts have to be elite athletes to endure a long-duration spaceflight? Explain. What are some of the ways you measure your level of fitness? Students, as your teacher pauses the program, take a few minutes to answer and discuss the questions with your class. When astronauts work in the International Space Station, they are working in a microgravity environment. They appear to be floating in the ISS. The apparent weightless environment places a reduced load on the leg and back muscles. Astronauts hardly use their leg muscles in space. The lack of muscle activity can cause the muscles to weaken or reduce in size. We call this muscle atrophy. It is possible astronauts on long missions may lose up to 25% of their muscle mass while working in space. The loss of muscle mass and strength during these missions could pose dramatic problems when they return to Earth. Muscles support the bones in your body, and if you have a combination of weak muscles and weak bones, can you imagine the harmful effects your body could face? To prevent muscle atrophy, astronauts must be in good physical condition while here on Earth or working in space. Do astronauts need to be elite athletes? There are no physical requirements to be astronauts other than you have to be healthy and pass a physical examination. Astronauts perform physical conditioning on a regular basis as part of their training. This also applies to them when they are working in space. The NASA team is responsible for pre-flight, in-flight, and post-flight exercise performance testing for all astronauts. We want to make sure astronauts are in good shape before they go into space, lose the least amount of muscle mass while in space, and rehabilitate their whole body when they return from space. We can conduct research to measure the muscle performance of astronauts by simulating an apparent weightlessness environment here on Earth. Any ideas on how we can do that? Exposure to spaceflight is very similar to prolonged bed rest. Remember, a cause of muscle atrophy in space is lack of muscular activity. That's why bed rest is a good model, because it minimizes activity, and like astronauts, you lose muscle mass primarily in the legs. During prolonged bed rest, the body gradually degrades and loses muscle mass, bone mass, and endurance capacity. Let's look at an example of how we measure muscle performance. Suppose we use Norbert as our test subject and want to measure his exercise power output during pre-flight, in-flight, and post-flight. In pre-flight, we would first have Norbert use a resistive device to measure his leg power. As you can see in the animation, Norbert's legs are pretty strong. He was able to lift 100 kilograms 10 times. Next, we simulate in-flight testing by putting Norbert in bed for an extended period of time, say 20 days. During that period, Norbert conducts all his activities in bed except for using the restroom. On day 20, we measure his leg power again, while in bed, using the same resistive device, and see that Norbert can only lift 75 kilograms 10 times. What percentage decrease in leg power did Norbert lose over the 20 days? If you say 25%, then you're right. After 20 days, Norbert is removed from the bed and the rehabilitation process begins to rebuild his leg muscles. This is considered post-flight. He undergoes an exercise program that will allow him to regain the strength he lost in his legs. I'm sure glad he purchased that Galactic Fitness 9000 treadmill. In reality, the recovery process is different for most astronauts. It takes about 30 days for muscle strength and exercise capacity to return to normal. But bone density may take 6 months to a year to return to normal. The research we conduct in space and here on Earth may one day benefit many populations, such as the elderly or people who have had major operations and are subjected to extended bed rest. The important thing for you is that exercise and good nutrition help to build strong muscles, bones, and endurance capacity, and that both are needed throughout your life in order to optimize your health and thus prolong your life. Well, Jennifer, back to you. And by the way, how's your friend's exercise and nutrition program coming along?
Well, I think RJ really understands the importance of good nutrition and exercise and that they go hand in hand to maintain good health overall. At the beginning of the program, do you remember RJ saying that his energy level was pretty low? Well, energy fuels growth, movement, and all the processes in every cell inside the human body. You know, now is a good time to go back and visit our friends at the New Mexico School for the Deaf to see how they're coming along on their second activity, Your Energy Needs, and how it applies to RJ's workouts.